Tolkien, for example, the famous English author of Lord of the Rings. Now, he died in 1973, which means he outlived the close of the council by almost 10 years and certainly saw the new Mass. So according to his friend, Professor Clyde Samuel Kilby, the changes brought on by Vatican II deeply disturbed Tolkien. And in the J.R.R. Tolkien Encyclopedia, Professor Kilby recounts how Tolkien had reacted to the first new Mass. And the reason I bring this up is important. People say, well, I go to the new Mass and I find it devotional and I'm okay. Well, yeah, this is 3-4 generations in. We're getting used to things. And you have some good priests, Novus Ordo priests are doing their best. I understand that. But we have to look at the initial reaction to this revolution in the Catholic Church, this attempt to shut down the traditional Latin Mass of the saints and of the martyrs and of the popes all the way back to Peter, right? And introduce something new. So when Tolkien first goes to his initial reaction to the Novus Ordo Mass, which was introduced by Pope Paul VI in 1969, his friend writes that Tolkien arrived at the service, seated himself in the middle of a bench, and quickly began to notice that there were other changes going on besides merely the abandonment of Latin. For example, genuflections, many of the genuflections and the crosses over the altar and over the sacred bread were being dropped. Tolkien's disappointment was such that he finally rose up, made his way awkwardly, he's an older man, made his way awkwardly to the aisle, bows deeply 3 times before the Blessed Sacrament, and then stomped out of the church. It's funny, when I read this, my father did the same thing, and I'm not talking once or twice, I'm talking many times before we found some oases and some underground places to go to Mass. So many times my father, with all 9 children, including yours truly in tow, would stand up in the middle of a sermon or whatever at one of these crazy Masses back in the early 70s. And I remember my father shouting, "This is heresy!" And out the door he'd go, all of his kids tailing after him. I was just a little kid, but I remember it well. I'll never forget. See, these men, friends, they were at war. They saw this as an occupation of the church they loved. Right? And that war continues today, regardless of the extent to which we realize how much we've been occupied, how much we've been infiltrated, those of us who came much later in time. But that war continues, not just in the church now. That's kind of the point and purpose of this show. And in a way, it's a good thing that when you take the Catholic Church out, everything else starts unraveling. When you take Christianity out, everything unravels until the same maniacs that tried to destroy the Catholic Church are now trying to destroy the rights of Europeans to eat. First, they destroyed their ability to feed their souls. Now they're trying to control their ability to feed their bodies. These maniacs, these Christophobic maniacs. It's not going on just in the church, it's going on throughout the whole world, this revolution. This globalist, secularist, New World Order revolution, Novus Ordo revolution. So guess what, friends? Moving on, we're not alone. And that's the beauty of the moment. That's the thing we got to seize upon. Not that we're going to lose, not that we have no chance, not that God is dead, but that God is with those who stand with him. And if we stand with those people who stand with God, God will stand with all of us the world over. So you know what? We're all Canadian truckers now. We're all European farmers now. We're all pro-lifers now. We're all anti-vaxxers. We're all pro-God, pro-country, pro-family, pro-freedom. Just watch us stand up and walk out. No matter what comes this year, the next year, it doesn't matter. We're never, ever going to give up. We're never going to comply with anyone, even the Pope, who attempts to destroy everything that matters.